So I'm going to start with the history of meditation and the purpose of its practice. Some of the earliest techniques of meditation have been found to stem from ancient India. The initial purpose of meditation was to understand and become closer with Brahman, the Hindu-Buddhist god. Over time, Buddhists no longer wanted to use the act of meditation to become closer with a higher being, but instead use it to understand one's interrelatedness with the world around them. So meditation began to grow in popularity in the 1960s and 70s. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't go back, sorry. When professors and researchers began to test the effects and benefits of the practice. So this is a book released in the 1970s by Dr. Hari Sharma about the health benefits of meditation. So why meditate? For thousands of years, people have been using meditation for many different reasons. One reason is mindfulness, and there are also some other reasons why people today could use meditation, including lower stress, more restful sleep, to reduce distracting thoughts, and mindfulness, rooting from Buddhism, is the practice of purposefully focusing your attention on the present moment. And after being looked at scientifically, mindfulness has been found to be a key element in happiness. It also makes it easier to deal with adverse events. So those who practice mindfulness meditation are less likely to get caught up in the worries of future and past. So that goes in with what I said before about reducing negative thoughts in your brain. And it also helps with heart disease, depression, substance abuse, anxiety, and a lot of other things. So I have some various studies to back up my A study at Harvard was conducted to see what differences would be made in the brains of those who meditated versus those who did not. So images were taken of the brains of people who were meditating before and after, as well as a control group of people who weren't meditating at all to see what the difference would be. So in that study, the people who were meditating would meditate for 27 minutes a day, and the changes found included increased gray matter in the brain, which decreases stress and improves memory and compassion in subjects. So as early as age 20, the human brain begins to show effects of aging, and the weight and volume begin to decrease. Meditation can help preserve gray matter, which in turn can help keep your brain young. So increased density part of the brain responsible for problem solving, which I did say before, and decreased center of fearful and anxious emotions, and an increased sense of awareness, as well as better concentration. Another study that I looked at was at Yale and relates mindful meditation to the decrease of activity in the default mode network, and this part of the brain is in charge of wandering thoughts about the past and future. A study at Johns Hopkins University looked into the correlation of mindfulness meditation and reduced stress, depression, and anxiety. It was found that the effect size is the same as that if you were to take antidepressants. Although meditation is not a magical cure, it is a way you can help depression, anxiety, and all that stuff without putting pills and chemicals into your body. So how to reach these benefits, which is kind of what the handouts, what I gave you. There are factors that include how long you meditate for, how often you do it, and how you choose to meditate. There's a lot of different ways to meditate. You can do it alone, you can go to a class, and I'll be talking about more ways to meditate too. So finding a mantra is silent repetition of a word or sound or phrase, and you sit up with good posture. For beginners, you can meditate for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Sitting up straight, as I said, it's easier than, or not easier, but it's better than lying down because it's more likely to fall asleep if you are lying down meditating. So in the book that I had mentioned before from the 70s, The Relaxation Response, he mentions the use of a mantra, like a repetition of the same word. So benefits of using a mantra allows you to focus your thoughts on what you're saying instead of in a silent room. It's easier to have more wandering thoughts that way. So some examples of mantra are Om. the most famous and sacred Hindu Buddhist mantra. Other words just like relax or peace, simple words like that you can use. And you click on that and then start it at 20 seconds.
One second.
It is composed of 3 parts. A, U, Ni. And it represents the beginning, the middle, and the end. When meditating on the sound of Om, you're using it like a mantra. And when you use a mantra, it becomes part of you. So you're going to make the sound externally, and then you're going to bring it internally. So you inhale. Om. Keep repeating the sound of Om after you inhale and you exhale in your mind and you say Om. You inhale and you exhale the sound of Om. And it keeps you focused on what you're doing. And if you find that you've wandered off somewhere, just come back to the sound of Om.
So breathing is another important part of meditation. Most common type of breathing is deep breathing, so that is, I did write a little bit of explanation on the sheets that I gave you. Deep breathing is when you allow your stomach to come out and just for full exchange of air. And shallow breathing is just like kind of short breaths, which can create a feeling of shortness of breath, so you probably don't want to do this if you're meditating. Put it on that.
7-8 breath, the relaxing breath that I teach to all patients and doctors and students and friends. Another yoga breathing technique. In this, you try to keep your tongue in the yogic position, touching the tip of the tongue to the ridge of tissue just behind your upper front teeth, like that, and try to keep it there the whole time. You breathe in quietly through your nose to a count of 4, and you hold your breath for a count of 7, and then blow air out forcefully through your mouth. Helps if you purse your lips out and you make a whoosh sound when you do that. So the exercise begins by letting all the air out through your mouth. Then you close your mouth, breathe in silently to a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 7, out through your mouth audibly to a count of 8, and you will repeat this for 4 breath cycles. Looks like this.
12, 11, Tim Burns speaking. Brandon, down to guidance. Brandon, can you go down to guidance?
Should I keep my stuff here?
I will bring it with you.
That's it. You must do this at least twice a day. You can do it more frequently.
So that was just an example of type of deep breathing. Also helps you fall asleep if you want to do that too. So yeah, there are a lot of different types of meditation. Like I said, sound meditation, so known as Tibetan singing bowls, which is the picture here. You can click on that and just listen to what it sounds like. It's a really cool sound. And they have like classes you can go to, and they have like a room, and you just sit there and they like make these sounds. Relaxing.
Can you buy one of these?
Yes, yeah, you can buy them. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, it's a long video, but that's it. Focused attention, so using a mantra, like I said before, to focus your attention on that sound. Mindfulness meditation, sitting up straight and eyes closed, cross legs, focusing on your breath. And there are many, many more types of meditation, because like I said, it's been used in many different religions, and it's just very old practice. So there are many different kinds if you're going to look into it. Any questions? Yep.
Did you choose this topic?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're allowed to choose anything, so. Anything else?
Why did you choose it?
Well, I was gonna do a different topic, but I found that I couldn't find an outside expert for what I wanted to do. So my mom is a yoga instructor, and she knows about this kind of stuff. So I didn't use her as my outside expert, but I knew about this topic, and it is pretty interesting to look into and stuff like that. So.
And do you meditate?
Yeah, I did. I didn't before starting this, but because I was reading into it and stuff, I did start, and I had to do it. Yeah.
Have you noticed anything different?
Well, I've only been doing it for like 2 months, maybe. I do find I'm more relaxed, and I do find that in like adverse events, like I said, I don't know, like I am able to make more conscious choices rather than letting my thoughts get in the way.